All right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool, cool,
Sorry.
cool.
Go ahead. You
Oh,
go.
no, you're good. So I'll just repeat what I just said just because that way we can get it in there for you. So we just recorded that to make sure the levels were coming in at 30 to 60 dB, and then we added a noise gate. Those were the two steps. All right, then, okay, so the next subsection is these three things here, and you want to do it in this order. And the reason for this is that once you throw a compressor on any line, you're pretty much giving yourself uh, a wall around your vocal that it's not gonna, because compression is gonna stop it once it reaches the barrier. So you want to be able to get things through like your channel EQ, your de-esser. You want those to process before your compressor. So in this order, you want to throw them into your DAW. You want to do channel EQ, then de-esser, then compressor. Even on your master line, you're gonna want to throw your compressor on last. The only thing I throw on a master line is a limiter and a compressor, really. But anyway, back to this subsection we're in. First, channel EQ. Okay, so you're gonna want to analyze this sample here. So instead of going into an EQ here and like picking one, I like to go in through this over here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and I don't need this noise. Wait, okay, that must be an update. Didn't used to add a thing here whenever you clicked it. Okay, so I'm gonna throw in my EQ first, then my de-esser. I'm just gonna go ahead and get these in here. This is literally just for order's sake. So I'm gonna put channel EQ first, then the de-esser, then the compressor. So just get those in order. All right. So instead of going in here and putting a new EQ on the line, I just like to go right into the channel EQ that's assigned to it, like when you click on it. So I'll just click that there. Then this pulls it up. First thing you want to do is throw the analyzer on, just see what's going on. And that's just so you can see what your EQ is doing across the line there. Just to give you kind of like an idea, a starting point. I can already tell you these areas I need to raise up. I'm going to need to put a low point on this here to bring that up. And then I believe some high end over there as well. Okay, let me put this on a loop that way. I don't have to keep doing this. Hold on just a second. This is why I love GarageBand. It's just so user friendly. Okay, so first thing is you want to cut the low end. So the low end looks like this. I'm not sure what I don't know what these shapes mean, but I just know the low end is this shelf right here. These are called shelves. So it's the one with an arch. And a good way to do that is just to click it on, and then you'll drag it over to around 95 hertz. Okay. And you'll want to keep that slope. You can mess with the slope if you want. And the slope is down here. Like I could change it to like this slope here, but I'm going to keep it at 24 dB per octave. Okay. This, the low end, what I mean by this, and you can write this down, is all the fuzz, the noise, the bumps that you hear, all that extra stuff. Okay. Then we want to add a little top end with this purple shelf here that looks like a pitchfork.
Okay.
So I move that over to around, okay, so on this EQ, generally just this going horizontally, this is the hertz here, and then up here is like your levels, the dB per octave. So when I say slide the top end shelf over to 10,000, I just mean like that right there, sliding them over. Okay, so like I said, add the top end shelf with the pitchfork one. We want to slide that over to around 10,000. And then we just want to bump it up slightly to around 4 dB per octave. So just a little bit of a slope there. You can mess with the slope of the curve on this one, but I just keep it right around there. Like you could make it wider, or you can make it a little bit like that, but I like to keep it just pretty simple right there. So after you add your top end, you want to boost the orange one, the orange shelf. Well, it's an orange shelf here. It's the pitchfork going to the left. We call that, shoot, I don't even know what we call that one, but you want to boost it around 100. So it's already at the 100, but you want to, again, raise that one up to about 4. And what you're doing here, you can kind of see is you're creating a nice little slope with these 3 EQ things, with these 3 shelves. Okay, and so the curve's going to meet slightly there, right around 100 hertz. Next thing you want to do is boost, you want to remove like muddiness or cloudiness, and you find this around 200 to 500 hertz. This is where you find the muddiness in a song. And this shelf here, I'm not sure what it says in Ableton. This is the muddiness shelf. So what I do is I like to around 200 to 500. Now male voices, you want to cut around 400. So you'll put yours here. I don't know if you just want to note that female voices, it'll be around 300 to 400. So you want to slide that over to 400, and then you want to actually bring that down about 2.5 hertz because we're removing the muddiness. We are going to decrease the Q on this one to around 100, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So it creates kind of a wider, goes all the way from that 200 to 500 range. So it's making sure to remove the muddiness from that whole thing there. Okay, and then the presence of your voice, the high limits, that's going to be this shelf here. That's where the presence of the voice is, and that's anywhere from around 1,000 hertz to 5,000 hertz or 7,500 hertz in some instances. So I like to slide mine, for my voice, it's around 3,500. But that's what I meant by, so your parameters are going to be 1 to 7, but what you'll do is you'll slide this left and right until you find a sound that you like, and you'll hear it. It's real clear. It's not like throwing on a noise gate or some, you know, plug in and like not being able to hear exactly. Like it's a real big shift in how you wear it, like you'll hear it. So I like to throw mine, I like to slide it over to around 35 hertz, and then I boost it up around 4 dB per octave. I do make the Q a little wider in this one. I do about 0.54. And that's, again, I just want it to stretch across the entire 1K to 7K. Even this one kind of stretched passes the 10K. I just want to make sure I'm bringing out all the presence that I can in my voice, all the cute little characteristics, all that stuff. All right, so that's all on the EQ. So once you've got that, really those are the 4 things you really want to, you can throw, like, I like to, what I call it, throw a blanket around anything, and I'll do this with anything. So I'll bring that down and just go like that. And it creates kind of like a blanket, you see. But you don't have to do that if you don't want. I just think it adds a little character. All right, so after that, you go into your compressor. And this one's real easy. This is a real simple guide that's gonna help you with like so much. Once I saw this and I applied it, I was like, oh my gosh. So, and this is just real simple. It's gonna be a lot simpler than what we've done so far. So the compressor threshold, you have 4 options here: compressor threshold, ratio, attack, and gain. I'm not sure how that's gonna come in on your compressor on your end or what it's gonna look like, but it should have similar options for as far as what your compressor is gonna do. So I like to set my compressor threshold to around -29 dB. But you're going to find anywhere from -33 to -18 is going to be the sweet spot. Now you can like mess with this tab here that kind of like throws all of these within ratio to each other, like as you adjust it. But I find that going in there and actually breaking it up gives you a little bit more detail. This is the big thing here. This automatically sets to like a 1.5, 1.8 ratio. It should be 4.1. Now that's most male vocals. I found that mine is clear at 6.1. So I like to see it just kind of like brightened it a little bit. I don't know if you heard that. I bring it back down to 1.8. You got a little muddiness. And then bring it up to 6.1. It gets a little clearer. The attack, you are going to want anywhere from 15 to 20 milliseconds. I throw mine on 18. And then your gain, you can boost that anywhere up 2 to 4 dB. Have you ever noticed, like, when you go to release a track and it's just not as loud as these things that people are releasing, like on Apple Music or Spotify or some of these like mainstream artists?
Yeah.
This is that trick. You want to throw that gain up because what it does is it gives you the loudness without throwing you in the yellow, like it would if you just raise the level of your master or raise the level of the line itself.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're done with this, and then on the de-esser, you wouldn't think that the de-esser has this much on it, but believe it or not, it does. So the de-esser, suppression frequency for the de-esser, you've got two options here, suppression frequency and suppression. For females, you're going to want anywhere from 5 to 7,000 hertz to sometimes up to 8,000. Males, 4 to 6,000 hertz. I like to throw mine at 6,500. And this one's just it's too hard to do.
What was male?
What was that?
What was male?
Males are anywhere from 4 to 6,000 hertz. And then I throw my suppression rate down to 7.5. And you can mess with this, like, you'll like hear it, like how it's suppressing it, but sweet spot I found is around 7.5. That's going to be based on placement, where your face is, like where the mic is and where you're standing in the room. But this is, again, another easy one to hear. Some of these plugins are real hard to just hear. All right, so at this point, you're good. Then you throw on your reverb. You never want to throw in the reverb or the ambience until after you set these things on your channel. So, all right, so I have noticed that reverb kind of, I'm sure you know this too, it sends the vocals to the back, or like even I like to think of it like it sends the vocals to a different room. So I've noticed that too much takes away. So I like to like throw it around like right here. I like to throw reverb on a master track.
Let me see. Oh, I see. So you're on the master track right now, and you're just keeping it up with the knob.
I'm just in the regular vocal track. I'm not in the master yet.
Okay.
So this is just the reverb, the ambience. Now this comes on my channel. You'll probably have to add that. I think with Ableton, you have to add your reverb to your channel. Is that correct? Does it
automatically? I have things set up now, but yes, you just add it to the channel.
Yeah. So that would be the point that you add that. And then the last thing that I do is click over on my master. Like I said, I just throw the limiter on there. So this is really the key, honestly. So the limiter, let me read this. Oh, so I don't recommend bringing up the level of the track itself. Just use the limiter. So it's basically a very high ratio compressor. It tucks everything down that exceeds the threshold. So what I like to do is your gain, you can throw that anywhere from 2 dB to 10 dB on the limiter. I usually throw mine up to about 7 or 8. This is, again, with that, when I was talking about like the tracks that like these mainstream artists are putting out, how they're just louder. We're going to get that with that compressor trick that I showed you. And then this part, throwing that gain up. And I don't know if you can watch up here, right here when I talk, it's kind of like thresholding it. So this is the biggest trick here. And I'm kind of, I think, never mind. Okay, so you want to throw this, basically what I was trying to say is this output level on the limiter, you always want to start with negative, ever. It's never ever going to be in the positive. So I throw mine down to -3. That means like, now if you see, like, I can talk as loud as I want, and this is not going to pass that yellow threshold now because of that limiter. So now it's just like super loud when you play it back.
Oh yeah, I can't hear your playback, but
Oh, you can't hear the playback? It's a huge difference.
I can hear your mic being messed with, and I can hear you talking, but I can't hear when you play that back.
Okay. All right. It's not super important. You'll hear it. But that's literally all I do. I'm gonna hop out of here. That way you can hear my regular, and then I can hear you.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So it's just, as long as you stick like with, it's the biggest thing is making sure you throw those in order, like channel D. I think it was, hold on. Channel EQ, de-esser, then compressor. I could not believe what a big difference it was throwing in your compressor last. Like, it messed with my whole sound throwing that compressor in first. And then just those levels. But that's really all I know as far as how to get my vocals. I don't know if that helped. Sorry, I can't help more with your DAW.
No, that does help. I'm gonna try to cobble this together and save the chain so that I can use it, and then try to set a new. Um, well, this is helpful because once you leave this meeting, it's gonna record this video to your computer, and then you can put that in the Google Drive. And if I have more questions, I can just refer to that video. And then once I get there, I should be able to send you like a vocal track and put that in the Google Drive, so you can be like, yes, that sounds pretty okay. Like that, this is what I would change, or you could just change it on your end. I'll just try to record it as clean as possible, and then maybe you can give me some pointers on my end to get you a better cut, or you can fix it on your end. It's up to you.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds good. So I'm just learning on this stuff. I try to absorb as much as I can. So if I learn something new or something that I wasn't doing right, I will update you if you don't mind.
Oh no, that's great.
Yeah.
I don't understand this on a deep level, so
me either.
Simple. Thank you for the very easy to digest. I think I have.
And I hope I explained it well, like what a top end is and where, like, this is where you'll find the muddiness. This is where you'll find the presence. I find that if I understand where that EQ, what it is, you can do so much within an EQ. Honestly, like you wouldn't even, I would bet you wouldn't need all that other stuff, and you could do everything that I just did within an EQ.
Yeah, I bet so too. I'm just excited to try to give this a try and see.
Yeah.
And see how it improves things. Like, I don't know why it feeds back. Like when well, I guess I did figure that out, didn't I? The reason why it was feeding back was because I was doing auto monitor instead of just the in monitor.
Yep.
So that's kind of cool. This is what I was like. You just helped me solve like 3 things that and that one was accidental. Like 2 were accidental, just because you're with me while I'm on this DAW, and so I get to test all these these things that I've been wanting to do. Which, like, number one, it's like the coolest thing in the world. You want to be able to send freaking reverb. Like if I'm doing a live performance, right? Like if I go live on Facebook or something, I'm gonna do it from this computer probably.
Mm-hmm.
And like I wouldn't want to have just an open room sound. I'm sure it'll sound fine, but I already have that. So
exactly.
Anyway, thank you so much for letting me play around.
Sorry, wife back there.
No, thank you very much for letting me play around. That's really cool. I'm gonna try to work. I have like a 1 o'clock, so I'm gonna try to work for like a couple of hours. See if I can't get you a track.
Don't even stress. Take your time.
My wings is totally hard to harmonize. Like,
isn't it?
Super fun stuff. But
yeah. I'm excited to see what you come up with, because I know you're a little bit more technical on the voice than me. Like, as far as like, you could probably hear those harmonies where I can't. Like, I can just tell, like, you're probably better at that. But man, I tried to sing and I just could not harmonize. But anyway, thank you so much for letting me just like, I have a new company, so it's like I'm trying to find like, just clients, and I'm sure this wasn't as like smooth as it could have been, but it was a real beneficial, and it was a learning experience for me to just trying to get to share those. So I really appreciate it.
That was super cool. Like, this whole recording could be could be a YouTube video. It's a good, simple way. It's great. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
No problem. Well, you have a great day. Stay safe in Austin.
All right, thank you. I'll see
All
you
right, I'm
soon.
gonna figure out how to turn this thing off now.
Oh, yeah, you just go
Stop
click.
video.
Yeah.
All right, peace.
Bye.